right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to your daily lighting critique. We have a handful of still images to go through. Abishek has a update on his poker puss animation, but we're going to take a look at the end as he has requested. That's totally fine. So we're going to start in here with the stills. The first one I want to talk about is, even though she's not here, is Clarissa. This is this bunny. I'm gonna basically. I think that we are in a good place with this. I think we are ready to clap for this one, if possible. And so I was going to see if anybody else had any thoughts on this before we commence some clapping. Just see one thing while we do that.
I'm just gonna DM her and see if I can buy a print.
That's perfect. That's perfect.
That's what I want to do.
Yeah.
It's so cute.
I totally agree. I think this is great. You can see that I just did like one little minor tweak there. And actually that's a little bit too much, but I just added a little bit more brightness to the bright part of the wings. And you could literally do what I just did and save it out and be done. I think this looks really great. I think that we are ready to clap. So if anyone wants to unmute themselves and have their hands out already, I think we should clap for Clarissa because I think she did a really great job. All right. Woo! Good job. All right. Beautiful work. Beautiful, beautiful job. All right, cool. Kat, we will hop over into yours next. So this is very early in this design of your Hotel California project. I know that you talked about how this was, you're just doing some early iteration tests. We got the mirror on the ceiling along with the lyrics. There was one thing that you said that you were talking about having characters walking around here and playing with that rim light and really kind of getting a good hold of that. I think that so that we don't get too fixated on the environment, because ultimately that's not the focus of this. I would go ahead and throw in, even if it's just a cube with like a sphere on top, just something to be like, okay. This is kind of where people are going to be, even if it's just the standard shader. It doesn't matter. Okay. Sometimes it's good to get a feel for that, because then you can start playing with this idea of rims and things like that.
I was actually thinking of just importing the ballerina into her and having her sit on the bed, because that's where the camera work's going to be from, is the bed. So
yeah, I think whatever. As long as it's not too heavy. Like I was thinking of spheres and cubes just because they're a little bit lighter, and you can work a little faster. But if you want to bring in some of our characters from the asset library, I'd say go for it. You got a bunch of little Sir Desmond Rotunda, octopuses or bats running around there. So I think that I think what you have is going to be a cool setup. I love it seems like you have a very wide angle on this. Maybe it's just the position of things, but it looks like you kind of have like this wobbly wide angle look going on to this, which I think could be very cool. I think if you're going for the Hotel California vibe of this whole thing, I think a kind of a fisheye lens or something a little bit wider would be good, because it like distorts the image around the edges a little bit, and I think that could be very cool.
Right.
In terms of the lighting, I think that we would want a little bit more ambience, and this is like where the rim light stuff comes in, because these lamps are bright, right? Like they're bright, and you can see like the hot spot against the wall, but the light seems to die off very quickly. Like you would expect this to bounce up here into the ceiling a little bit and kind of fill in both of these spaces a little bit, and you'd expect the light to to see like some of the light spill onto the bed, because again their purpose is like for people to read in bed, so you'd expect some of the light to hit there, and then just I think I would, unless what's happening outside the window is important to the story, I would tone that down and just make that darker out there and make it all about like the interior lighting to avoid.
Yeah, this setup comes with curtains, so I'm just going to put curtains over the windows, so you're not going to see much out there anyway. This is a whole modular pack I bought off of Marketplace. Cool. So I have, if you look at the reference stuff that I posted, let me go back here. The little where it says interior of hotel, that's actually the model. So that's how the model kind of looks if you want to put in all the stuff. So hold on. So that's how that's how they have it set up. I'm gonna, obviously do stuff a little differently, but that's kind of how much stuff you get when you get this whole packet.
That's
so
cool.
I just have to play with things. Yeah, it was like, that was the one a couple weeks ago when we were doing critique, and I was like, I gotta go buy something because this one went on sale.
I also think I could be wrong. Actually, I think I'm wrong because it was a hexagon shape, but that is similar. But it's not the same, but it's similar to the Shining carpet.
Yeah.
But this is cool. Like, I love. You can see there's some specularity in the wallpaper, which is really nice. You can see it down here. So that'll really pick up some light at glancing angles. That'll be nice. I think the one thing that I guess it's in the asset too. But I was surprised there wasn't a larger base on the model, on the lamp that's attached to the wall. It feels odd that it's just like a single kind of rod jammed in there, but that's okay.
Yeah.
And then in terms of so
I might just shove that further into the wall because the model is kind of like that because it's the same ones they have in the hallway.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe I can be able to thicken that. I don't know how much of the mesh I can mess with, but the thing that was weird is the shaders on the lamps. They're actually not translucent. They put like an emissive material.
Oh.
And I didn't like how it looked. So I actually went in and tweaked it. So it's still kind of emissive, but it looks more like the light is coming through like a different color.
Yeah.
So if you look at mine, I kind of made it look more like an actual lamp.
Yeah.
Versus
don't do the emissive stuff. And you can see here's a couple of really good examples. Like there's this lamp here and this lamp back here. This lamp right here, I'm guessing that they didn't, because like naturally lamps kind of look like that. I'm guessing, you can see it here, here. I'm guessing that in this particular shot, they put something thick, like they lined the lampshade with something opaque to kind of block that from happening, because that's a lot of light spilling out. And I'm guessing they just they wanted to keep the characters lighting at about that level, and a super bright thing right there would distract too much. So I think they did. I think that's why they did it that way. So you can play around with that a little bit. You can see here too. This one's kind of toned down. This is a nice shot here at the bottom, because you can see the kind of like the way that the light is bouncing around the room. We're getting some color. We're getting the reflection of the outside light right there on the ground. You're getting kind of these green colors on the inside from the green wall. Also, just like a little bits of rim lights that are like a little bit softer on the characters and not. Hiding their faces, but still kind of revealing a lot. This is nice down here, and then all these exterior shots.
If you ever watch that show, it basically the first 8 seasons is nothing but motel room to motel room.
Yeah,
and they had to completely come up with different motel rooms every week when they filmed. So the set deck people got lots of experience making motel rooms.
Yeah,
but the really lighting is really cool. I've always thought the lighting in that show was really. Because it does a good job of making it kind of feel, especially in the first 5 seasons, like thriller-ish without going into horror too much until they start fighting monsters.
Yeah.
So that was one reason I kind of wanted to use a little bit of as a reference. But yeah, I like that bottom shot too. That's the one I might try to do, especially with like the colors outside. So it looks kind of like an, kind of grungy dive motel a little bit.
And the other thing too, and again with this type of light, is like looking at how much actually hits the ceiling and how it falls off there. It's really nice. Like this would be like kind of bright here and then fades off that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, cool stuff. Good stuff, man.
Cool, thanks.
Yeah. All right. So we got Clarissa, we got Kat. We'll hop into Theo's now. So I think that the specularity is looking better. I think the diffuse might have come down a little bit too strongly. I think we can boost that up. I think it's a right thing to overcorrect. Let's see. Pull this up. So let me see if I can find like these. There's some good examples in here of like this type of. Let's go down here at the bottom. Like the way that this shadow area is dark, but it still has a little bit of that blue value, that little, like a little bit of that is still in there, and it doesn't allow it to quite go into this jet black range. So adding just a little bit of diffuse there. And I think the hat, just because I think the hat's gone too dark, because I'm looking at it in comparison to the head, and like if you just kind of zoom in right here, there's a distinct difference between the darkness of the hat versus the darkness of the hair. But like looking at the character's face, beautiful shaping coming across, just like lovely. Like the little rim light here. I really like that there's a speck light kind of hitting up. Now we're seeing definition of this, of this, of this. If that light wasn't there, this whole area would just kind of feel flat. But now we're getting a sense of the wrinkles or the little, I don't even know. They're not really wrinkles. They're just like the squished up skin components that are there. Are looking really good. But yeah, I think we can get a little bit more fill in there. I think the hat can come up just a touch more along with it. And then, yeah, I think the background is, I think the background's looking pretty good. I wonder if we can go a little brighter with the background. Look at this. Just like a little bit in the highs. Let me take this down. Saturation. Yeah, I think a little bit more. Maybe not that much value. But I think a little bit more. I think that could help. Yeah, I think that would be good. And then I think getting a little more fill in the darks. I think, and then for these specular highlights, I love their existence. I love that they're doing a really good job. If there's any way to maybe increase the radius of the lights or to make it a little broader, because like in a couple of these areas, especially like down here on the arm, it's pretty tight. Like it's just like in like one little spot here and there. And what you want is maybe a little bit of a broader specular highlight, in order to see some of the more definitive values. Like we're getting some more broader specs in there. This one too, some more broader spec. Yeah, like that way you can get like kind of all of these wrinkles. Let's see if there's another night one. Yeah, like these kind of broader, cooler specs in there. This one down here as well. Yeah, so lots of good examples in the Hall of Fame over here to check out. All right. Anybody else have anything on this before we move on to Austen, and then we'll go over to Abishek's. Okay, so we've got this update from Austen. We've got this is the previous version. Let me get these in order. Previous version. This was her update, and then this was Austen's next update from there. Oh no, I'm sorry. The second one was based on a note that I had to see if we could move the key light around to the frontal area. And this is, yes. Okay, so this is a great example of why showing iterations is really important. So lots of times there will be an art director, supervisor of some sort that will tell you to do something that you know won't look right. Like I said, move this key around more frontally. What I was looking for was to try and get some more light to creep across the screen right side of her nose. That did not happen, right? We moved it more frontally. I think she actually looks worse. We lost some of the shaping, and we didn't get the thing that we desired. So this presentation of like, here is what you asked for, plus an update to the way that I think it would look best, allows me to go, okay, you know what? I see why you did it this way. You were right. I was wrong. I think this does look the best, the best way possible. Now, if Austen had just been like, okay, here's the update, and I would say, man, didn't I ask for? I still think it'll look better. I would fixate on this idea of what I have, which is pretty much this exact lighting with a little bit more light trickled over there. But because I didn't see it, I would know that I was dumb, and that I wouldn't know that I was incorrect in what I was thinking, or and so I think like it allows me to go, yes, I agree with you, let's go forward with this, and ultimately it gets us to our end game a little faster. Yeah, so I think it looks better this way. Let's get some eye dings in there a little bit. Let's see. Did we lose those? I think we lost those from the previous version, so just kind of getting those back in there. There's a heavy black line around the edge of her. So just double check your layering, and that we're not getting a matte line. Again, the easiest way to do it is to add a pre-mult node prior to doing any color corrections, and then a mult. Like basically import your layer, reformat it, unpre-mult it, do all your color corrections, and then in the very end add one multiplication. I think we have a lecture on this in the compositing course on how to do that. It's just it'll just stop things like these black edges forming from too thick alpha channels. But yeah, I think the rest of it is looking pretty good. I like all the other changes that you made. Let's see this. The one thing, let's try this real quick. The one thing I do like more about this second version is what's happening in the fill value. Let's see if we can do that. So like, do you see it? Like in this version we have, actually even just that with like this kind of spotted in there a little bit more. The way that the fill value on this one is just a little bit more, we can see a little bit more into her eye. I don't necessarily like that we can see more on their hair. I'd rather that be down, but I like this extra little bit of value on her face. And so I'm wondering if we can't add just like a little bit of a subtle spotlight to the screen right side just to lift that up a little bit more. But that's pretty much it. I think everything else is looking great. Watch out for the very bright stud on the earring there. I would just take that down just a little bit. But I think everything else is looking really great. All right, so that's all of the stills. And now we're gonna hop back over into Pokerpuss Land. So this was after a while of doing some work on the stills. We got a nice long render out here. I think aesthetically everything is looking great. There's a couple of minor tweaks I would make. The biggest one is we're getting a lot of noise on these specular layers, and you can tell like literally because it's just here and here mostly, and the way that. Yeah, the way that I would handle that, there's a couple things that you can do. If you have the specular highlight layer isolated with an AOV, you can do some denoising in Nuke, where there's actually some, like try like frame blending it. Because what frame blend does is it takes like 2 frames before and 2 frames after. I think that's the normal range, and it finds like a common value of all of them and it mixes them together into like one thing. So that like it helps eliminate noise, but you really just have to isolate it to just the areas that you want. And again, I would do it just in that AOV. You could also like blur it a couple pixels too, and that might help. The only other option really is to re-render it at with more samples or a higher resolution or something, which I would try to avoid because I'm sure this probably took a long time to render. Because I think we can do it some other ways. Additionally, I think I don't know if this is also causing noise, but if you look at like the top of the cards here, there's a little bit of like aliasing or some sort of flickering going on there. Last thing I'll say is that on these, it looks like it's on the chips, maybe something back behind it. The glow on that is a little bit extreme, where it's kind of like an edge blurring on that. It's a little bit on the cards too. I would just take that down just a little bit. Anybody else have any thoughts? And then if you have the cards isolated, I would, especially basically the front of the cards facing us, I would take that. Yes.
I have just uploaded another version with smoke.
Oh, with smoke. Let's see.
You should check it out, that one.
Yeah. What I was gonna say was that the. Yeah, here we go. I kind of like the smoke. I think the smoke is cool. I think that I would tone it down a little bit more towards the top, What do you, is anybody else? Anybody else have thoughts on the smoke? Any thumbs up?
It might be just a little bit too fast.
Yeah, that's a good call on the speed. Let's slow it down a little bit if you can. And what I was going to say was, if you have cryptomats or a way of isolating these cards here that are facing camera, I would just gamma them. I would like increase the gamma on them and make them just a little bit brighter, just like a small amount, but just so we can read them a little bit more clearly. I know they're not that important, but
Only that card only.
just like let me go back to the other. Let me go back to like the cards that are facing us. So these, and these mostly. There's like one card back over there too, but like just these. Grab those. Just pull up the gamma just a little bit.
Yeah.
Or-
Separate
yeah.
map for the card. I
Yeah.
can do that.
Perfect. But I think everything else is looking great.
Mike, is there any way to remove the jitter on the eyes
Yeah.
on the
So
in comp?
yeah, the let's see if we can open new. Let's see if I can grab this here real quick. So there's this node called frame blend. Let's see if this works. Actually, this works pretty well. So you can see before it, just like, let's just zoom in here. It really helps reduce the noise on something. And what I would do is I would take this. This isn't quite perfect. Like it's not perfect, but I would take this and draw a roto around, like kind of garbage mat out the areas that you want to reduce the kind of garbage mat around it, and then just have my frame blend be in this. Blur this edge a little bit too. This is a very janky way of doing it, very quick. But then what you can do is you can take this, and what this does, and you can, obviously you would animate your roto along. So we'll just say like here, and then because it's nice because what you have is an animation that's pretty linear. Like although it's moving in 3D space, you can track it pretty easily. It's like something like this. And then what you've got is this is tracking along with it, and you can increase the number of frames it's sampling from. But you'll also notice that it gets a little blurrier when it does that because of the moving camera part of it. So that is the main way I would do it. There's also a denoise node that you can try, and what it does is there's an analysis region. This is a little bit newer to Nuke, so we're gonna so we will. You'll analyze the noise first, and then it'll go there. But we'll update. We'll have a little bit more of a tutorial on this in our next Nuke class. But you can play around with that and look at the documentation as well. So, hi, buddy.
Hi, I got to eat.
You got to leave. Sorry, my son just came in. You want to say hi? All right, guys. Whoa, do you see an octopus? It's cool, huh? All right. So my son is home from school on his first week, so I'm going to hop off now. But that is the best way that I would say to handle it. And he got to leave. Let me see your leave. See, he got to leave. All right, guys. Thank you so much, and I will talk to you all very soon. All right, be good, everyone. Happy lighting. Parker, say
Bye.
Yeah.
bye.